You know, turn it off, then I get in trouble. With Mr. Todd there, oh, he's a pen.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll begin the call to order the meeting of the Littleton Board of Health of January 12th, 2016. Since it's already 7:05 and you guys need to go shovel out the fire station, and I drive through your parking lot to get to my house, we're going to let you guys go first. So.
All right. So tonight, I'm just going to give you a quick overview as to where we are with the plans for the fire station going forward. As it's currently scheduled, it should be going forward for design funding at Springtown meeting. So the quick overview, we started, actually the project started several years ago, actually when they built the police station, and there's been some different renditions that have gone back and forth since then. In 2013, we obtained funding for a feasibility study, and that was completed in May. We went through, we talked about inadequacies within the station and for the ability to house 24-hour staff. The next one then. So as we go through some of the photos here, the ambulance on the right, there's currently about 3 feet between the apparatus and the gear. And that's where the members get dressed. So as apparatus are pulling out, the guys are getting dressed. They'll get clipped by a mirror. So it's not enough space. Today's the NFPA standards for apparatus. There's supposed to be 20 feet between pieces of apparatus. And as far as gear is supposed to be in its own room. It's not even supposed to be on the apparatus floor where it's exposed to exhaust. And speaking of exhaust, there's supposed to be an exhaust evacuation system that hooks to all of the apparatus to get the contaminants out of the building. On the left picture there, that we have a temporary trailer out back. That's where we're currently staffing our 24-hour coverage. There is no accommodation in the main building for around-the-clock staff. And then on the bottom right is the existing rear station. But just over a year ago, we kind of band-aided the roof. Typically, after every storm, you could shovel the shingles off the ground. So we were able to basically cover one side of the roof with rubber roofing, and which it's a good fix. It's holding well. And then the building itself has deterioration problems with the doors, the garage doors, and the siding. So this here is, like I just stated, we put the temporary rubber roof on. The trailer out back, the trailers that are being stored currently out behind that station, they're all out in the weather. 2 years ago, we unfortunately lost the MRC trailer. With the snow, it caved in one of the roofs, and we lost a lot of equipment in that, which resulted in an insurance claim. So one of the, that's one of the issues that we'd be looking to address is where the trailers are. And then like that, the modular building that's in the rear, it works. We added 4 additional office units in it, as well as living quarters for 2. It's a little bit cold in the winter, but it's not too bad in the summer. So in the time period, we had several renditions of the building. We went through with all the abutters. We had multiple meetings at the fire station where everybody had input. We had different architects that were involved as residents, and they gave their input. And that's what really kind of brought us from the commercial-looking fire station to something that actually fit the neighborhood a little bit better. We were able to change roof lines and things like that between all those open houses, and just we had some pretty decent input and thoughts and recommendations. I'm gonna hit the next one. So one of the other things as we were moving forward, the abutters really wanted us to move out. So we actually investigated all of the town-owned parcels of land that were 2 acres and larger. We needed basically a minimum of 2 acres to accommodate the space. And we found that we own a lot of swamp, And, but there were a few pieces that actually stuck out, and one of them was the Morgan property. One of the issues that we ran in with that is the access alone, just for that road, and
To
adding...
the main street.
Yep, from the street up to the field, to add all of the utilities, it was just over an additional $1 million for the project. So in December 2013, the board voted for the fire station to remain at 20 Foster Street, renovate the existing building, and put a substantial addition onto the back. As you can see in the top picture, the existing building is still there. To the right side would be an addition that extends into the parking lot. That would be a community meeting room. It would be all handicapped accessible. Going out to the back, there would be 4 bays, 20 feet wide each by 100 feet deep. 2 of the bays would be drive-through, so we'd be able to drive out both sides of the garage. Looking at what would be the rear of the building over here, that's carport. So we'd be able to back all of the trailers underneath there to at least keep them out of the weather. And then on the corner here, this is a training building. It'd be a 2-story training building where we'd be able to, it would basically have like fire escapes on the inside, a sprinkler system with a standpipe on the outside, so we could practice just like we were going to a commercial building, tie into the building, we could charge the sprinkler system, and on top of the carport roof would be also like a working platform. So there'd be a door up there, we could do some training evolutions within that building, throw ladders to the windows. This is the existing layout of the lot. This is here's the old police station and the station out back where we have our apparatus. So you can see that here and here. We would be eliminating the existing parking lot on the side right now, where there's currently 20 spaces, and would be increasing it to 37 in the back. There would still be handicapped and 3 additional parking out in the front, as well as along the street. So the main access for the garage for the apparatus would be coming out onto Wilderness Road. Basically, I think it takes over about 5 feet more of the grass that's currently on the little island right now. So it really doesn't...
Are you going to have extra room in the event you have to stay overnight? If later on, 3 or 4 years from now?
Yes.
You might.
Yep. So I'll get to that in 1 second. So as far as that space on the apron, there is enough space there to actually pull all of the apparatus out on the apron and not block Wilderness Road. And then, like I said, we almost double the parking that's up there in the lot, for conservation, for Bay Park, the church, whatever the usage is.
And people won't be parking on Wilderness Road, which is what happens now,
Correct.
right?
Right. Yeah, they would not be able to block, fire apparatus egress. So, on the, let's see, go on to the next one, I think. So here's the floor plans. As we go, in the first floor, this area here is the existing building. This would be the new proposed training room. And this is the existing garage that we're currently using. We keep the front part of the garage, and then up the back, we would add additional office space. And then where the existing trailer is right now, that would also be a 2-story addition there, where we'd have gear, a gear room, a decon room, which we currently don't have any decon capabilities right now. Our fire alarm, we'd have some additional office space in there as well. And then this is all the bay space. There's 4 bays, like I said, 100 feet deep, approximately 20 feet wide. 2 of them would have the ability to drive out the back. We'd have a couple of our smaller pieces out there, so that we drove out and around the back.
I was going to ask, it seemed like that backside, there wasn't a lot of room that you could pull through.
We wouldn't be able to do that with the large trucks.
Right.
We would be able to with the small.
Yeah.
And with the abutters to the left, they don't want us exiting out that side because their driveway comes into our side driveway.
Leibowitz's, yeah.
The Leibowitz's.
They're very close.
We've had several almost crashes as they're backing out, and we have a call, or even just driving in, sometimes they just back out, and,
Yeah.
you know, so it's definitely something that we are trying to address. So it will be most likely one way around the building. And then the second floor is all living quarters. So we wouldn't need elevators because there's no need for public access up there. There'd be the bunks, day room, fitness room. There is some storage there. Back out on the first floor, there would be some mezzanine storage space out at the far end of the garage for the workroom, our air compressor, SCBA room. So as we go into the blank screen, where's our timeline? Oh, there we go. You can just have them all right into the... So as it was voted in January 6th, we're staying at our current facility, at our current site. This spring we'll be voting on, it's actually 535 for design. And then we'd work on design through July into the fall. It would go out to bid, and then in the spring of 17, it would go for construction, which is about $7 million right now. And the bonus part of it is that it would be voted as a debt exclusion. However, with the schools falling off the debt service, it would have the potential of being under the levy. Any questions?
Do you have a laundry room there on, in the event you guys stay overnight or something?
Yes, they are there. They're overnight now, Gino. Yep. We're there 24 hours a day.
We don't want you to go dirty outside, you know what I mean?
Scott, I got a question, and I think I've asked you this before, but honest to God, I can't remember. I'm just curious why the training tower is on that corner of the back of the building
Instead of the front.
instead of the back corner, the left rear corner as you face it from
Wilderness
the road.
Road side versus the Leibowitz side.
Yeah.
If it's on the Leibowitz side, we won't have the space to drive around the building.
Oh, I thought that it was incorporated in, if you just took it and put it here and reversed everything,
It
it
sticks.
wouldn't extend that way any further.
It sticks out, it's 10 feet more than the carport
That's,
on the, so it's
Space
it's
limited.
roughly 25 by 25.
Yeah.
And the carport goes out 15. So if it's on the other end, we have very limited space to go around that corner of the property. We'd be going
I thought
right
it
to
was,
the property
okay.
line.
I was looking at it, and I think I talked to you about that once before.
Yeah.
But I forgot the reasoning.
It's pretty snug.
Yeah.
The other ability with it on that side, we can use the whole front apron for training scenarios, so we could lay out the hose lines and everything right, and utilize the parking lot at night. You know, we'd obviously use part of it for personnel for parking, but we'd still, that's the biggest amount of space that we could utilize for that. You know, as far as throwing the ladders, setting up the trucks, and you know, having the ability to use the most amount of space.
Like it. I like it very much.
Thanks. All right.
You need construction, need a place to park your trailers, come talk to me, so we'll find you.
Will do. Thank you.
At least your property.
That's a lot right there, so.
Good job, Scott.
All right. That's it.
Nice.
Quick and simple.
Excellent.
Just bring you guys up to par. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, let's back up, we'll go to administrative matters. Any board member reports? Bill?
Nope.
John?
No, the one sort of question I have is, and this is long-ranging, but given the recent announcement that there's a buyer for the very
Please,
fine
please.
facility, and that an occupant would be a bottling organization or a bottling facility at some point, would we have a role in any of that when it comes, or, you know,
I think manufacturing is generally Department of Public Health,
more
so I
about
think,
that?
And the company that bought it is the brokerage firm.
yeah, they're looking for a
they're
follower.
looking-
They're looking,
Yeah,
Yeah,
for an
okay.
occupant, they're not the ones,
Right.
right, but, okay, all right, just a curiosity I had. All right, other than that, that's it for me.
Gino?
No.
Okay. There was an email, should we go over there's a library search committee, apparently we're searching for a library, which was news to me, but they're looking for a rep from the Board of Health to be on it. I'm not sure we need to. If anybody's terribly inclined, you can be on it. Otherwise, I'll tell them to call us if they have any Board of Health questions. I think it's just kind of one of those things where they put somebody from every board on, and I can't see the.
They want to, this is sort of a task force to assess whether we need to build a new
Right.
library.
So, does it have any interest? Anne's not here, we could volunteer her.
Don't show up.
So, no interest. What I can tell them is if they need to talk about it, I can go, we'll get somebody to go, but I'm not sure we need to go sit through all those meetings.
If they want somebody to go, I would go. But there may be I don't know whether they would consider it a conflict of interest because I'm on the PMBC.
I could go if there's an emergency or something like that.
All right, so why don't I
Between
ask,
two of us.
I'll volunteer you if they've got a concern because you're on the PMBC. Gino, we'll put you over there.
Yeah.
Okay? So do you want to go to all of these? You want me to tell them to call us when they need us?
Just they call us when they need, they need us, there's no reason to go to all
My
of them.
opinion is we're either going to be part of it or we're not.
Well,
I go to a lot of meetings, but since
Well,
you're a
so
volunteer,
I
I'm going to go,
mean-
since you're the one volunteering.
No,
you're-
all I'm getting at is if whoever gets
We'll f-
appointed to do this
we'll
can't
find
make
out.
a meeting, they can't make a meeting.
Right.
But
yeah, we'll find out.
to
when we
say,
go.
we'll go if you want us there.
Find out what
is-
kind of.
Well, I was going
data-
to say is call us if you need us, if you're going to discussing issues relevant to Board of Health. But there's a lot, my experience with these meetings is there's a lot of discussion that really isn't.
As long as
I'll agree with
interfere.
that.
So.
As long as it doesn't interfere.
But I'll ask of you, if they don't concern with you being on the PMBC, I'll put your name forward, and short of that, Gino.
I'm good with that, yep.
Okay. Issue came up last time, we said we'd look into on Taylor Street. Can we talk about the fence on Taylor Street as an administrative matter, or do we need to put that on the agenda? So the issue was, we had passed a previous motion to require a fence around the Taylor Street property.
Or ask that,
What's that?
or ask the.
But require the bank to put one up.
Right.
Right. We subsequently got involved with the Attorney General's office, and that property is about to go, is part of the abandoned property initiative. They're going to court in February to get to put it into receivership to fix it up. The question is, do we want to continue with the fence order, or do we not want to do that? I checked with the AG, she has no preference, she says it doesn't weigh in on that, so.
Well, my feeling is that the motion was made and passed months ago. So had it been done then, it already would have been done, and so on and so forth. And my opinion is that just because another process has been put into place, why should that negate something else that was already decided upon? Why not,
Well, I tend to agree
go
with you.
forward with everything that we have?
Well, I did want to check with the AG to make sure that that wouldn't interfere with the abandoned housing initiative process, because they will have a contractor going in there. She didn't seem to think it would be a problem, so if it's the druthers of the board to move forward with the fence, with the letter regarding the fencing, we can do that. So we did pass a motion.
I would just as soon go ahead with it, just so that it's on the record that it was sent.
Is there any objection? So we could figure out who's responsible for that property at this point. I think Abby at the AG's office probably has all those contacts. We can send a letter requiring they put a fence up. There's a security risk. We were in there. There's a 30-foot well in the basement. There's relevance to that. Do we have any minutes?
Yeah, there's a set minute. And then also, just the HOA renewal is due. So I
Membership.
usually just sign everybody up unless somebody doesn't want to do it.
Okay, so we have minutes of, so I think you can go ahead and sign us up. I don't think there's any objection. I know Ann wants to be part of that. so.
That's fine. I was a little confused by that, and this was in an email, I was a little confused by whether I was supposed to fill this out or not, but it sounds like it's just taken.
Yeah, I'll
That's
just,
fine.
I'll send it in for everybody.
So we do have the minutes of December 1st, 2015. Folks want to look that over for a minute?
It's a duck. Shut up.
Oh, you have a duck.
Shelley, I'm not a fan of the cleansing. I just had my last one tonight. Huh? Oh, it's awful. They nibbled my chocolate.
Can't believe it.
Makes you appreciate Thursday morning so much more.
Is this a diet regimen thing?
I've been, last winter I was 234 pounds, and I get down to 208, and I couldn't go any further, and I got on this one.
This was the one I was in Wisconsin for, so I can't add.
Awful.
Yeah, so I usually just abstain because
Awful. It's isogenics. It's, you drink a shake in the morning, you shake at lunch, and then you have a small meal, and 2 days of cleansing, you don't eat, and you drink this stuff.
And I used to yourself.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, yeah.
Sounds terrible. John, you're up next, right?
Yeah.
No,
Did you see the plans?
Gino, Bill,
Yes.
still looking it over, Gino?
One more minute.
All set.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Kyle,
Come here,
we
come here.
do the systems
You know,
together.
it's gonna
So
be
you got,
family.
you got us, and then
It's a
it's
septic, so.
a nice system, it's good works. Go right now. We'll have it done.
Call back from, wait till
Oh, you did?
get it done.
Yeah.
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 Did you go meet with her?
Started today already.
Oh, what's on? Yeah, do you test it?
Okay, any comments on the minute? The only thing I'd say on the minutes, only because I get an email from one of the selectmen, was the letter we're sending out to the failed septic systems is not, it's reminding them, not, I get this frantic email, are you requiring people to do this? It's like, not unless they're in catastrophic failure. Other than that, do we have any other changes? A motion to approve?
So moved.
You know?
Just 1 second.
Oh, sorry, thought you were done.
Just a little different.
Second.
Okay, second, John, you weren't here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, abstain?
I abstain.
Okay, so motion, minutes passed, that's it. Any correspondence, Shelley? What are the solid waste regulations?
Oh, we'll talk about those next meeting. Jim, those were some regulations that were put into effect a couple years ago, but then nothing really got done with them. And so Jim is suggesting that that kind of get resurrected and we send the letters out to all the haulers. We had instituted fees, yearly fees and all that, and then it just didn't get done, so.
Okay, so we'll deal with that.
We'll talk about that next meeting.
Okay, so continued hearing, Oak Road, parcels 123 and 124.
Good evening. Good evening, Jonathan Markey.
Matthew Field.
You keep these two down to.
John, Billy, can I move this?
So we've prepared a two-bedroom septic design for these two parcels here. It's combined, it's a 10,000 square foot lot. As you can see, we've done extensive testing in the area. We have designed based on the slowest perk rate, which gives us a two-bedroom design. Given the topography out there, it's a sloping lot. There's
I'm sorry, do we have a butters for this property, is anybody? Okay, great, sorry.
There's an existing house here with a septic that runs through these lots out to the other street.
Narcissus.
Yeah, Narcissus. That too is a raised system. This would be a raised system also, in order to accommodate the grading for the proposed system. We're proposing walls along the back and sides. Again, it's a small two-bedroom dwelling proposed with the garage. The wall is, on average, about 3.5 feet. It does get to 5 feet in a couple of spots, for which we have to go to ZBA and get their approval.
Does Roland weigh in on this as well?
Yes, a building permit's required,
Anything over 3 feet?
4 feet.
4 feet. Okay. So you're looking
These
for...
are dry wells. Yep. So to handle the roof runoff, there are two proposed 700-gallon dry wells, similar to the designs that we do typically on the repairs. This is new construction. So it does meet, Title V, it meets groundwater offset, it meets, reserve area. So that, just the only variance that we're looking for tonight, which included a butter notification, is the filter property line with the utilization of the walls.
So you're filling within 10 feet of the property line, and
Yes.
the walls are going up to how tall, you say?
Up
5.5
to 5, yeah, 5.5 feet is the highest spot. And these are those modular blocks. So at a height of 5.5 feet, they don't require the tiebacks. So there's nothing going back into the system. They're freestanding.
And this goes, the retaining walls go right up to the property line, or
Yeah, they're 2 feet in.
2 feet? Okay. And all these other lots are undeveloped at this point? Or there's one house?
This is a construction. This lot
This lot,
was purchased by this homeowner through the town,
okay,
and this lot was purchased by this owner.
okay.
This is a town-owned, and this lot here goes from
Yeah, that
Oak
one's
Road
in-
to
It's a small lot.
Narcissus,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is a new construction that Doug Schwab did.
And this is the lower side.
So the blocks are gonna push like this? Blocks that you put in.
Yeah, that's only, I think that's,
Yeah.
Okay.
the side is 3 feet?
Yep.
So everything else is going in on conservation land?
Town-owned land,
Town.
yeah. And I've actually talked to the town about acquiring them, but it's a long, drawn-out process.
And does town water feed this area as well?
Yes, sir.
This is not a well, so-
No, town water.
Well, the only comment I have to make is that in Jim's comments, he says that he hasn't received the revised plans, so he doesn't have any comments on it.
He's had these plans for a while. I don't know why he hasn't reviewed them.
The revised ones?
He says here he hasn't received them. Those are the only comments he's got.
Well, it sounds like maybe with the holidays, there was a miscommunication and they missed it, but I've heard Jim see it, but I think we can look at it as well.
Jim, see this? I don't have anything here.
Yeah, so Jim did an initial review. He had a few comments, to which I revised the plans. I sent the plans back into him, addressing his comments. They weren't anything that would say you couldn't build the system. They were, minor modifications to the plans. I had, my trench width was 3.2 feet. You can only go 3 feet, so I had to adjust the trench widths. It was minor stuff like that. They were sent back into them. The variance would still be the same variance. It wouldn't change with the new plans or old plans.
So there are no major changes to the system, just some details, you're saying?
Right, this is
Same basic system.
for all intents and purposes. I don't know if you have a PDF of the old plans, but it's identical to what this is. It's just the trenches are a little bit narrower than they were before. And that plan needed the same variance. It was the same wall height.
The variance doesn't change.
Yeah. No matter what I do, this is the best design I can come up with, and that's
This one.
yeah, that's the variance.
So we've got a request for variance. Do we have a motion or concerns?
I just haven't had time approving anything without Jim's comments, I really do, because, I mean, we pay him to look at these,
Yeah, you wouldn't be approving the plan. You would just be granting the variance. I'd still have to meet all of his requirements for the plan review. It would just prevent me from having to come back after another meeting.
So one of my suggestions might be that we approve the variance pending approval of the plan by Jim.
Right.
I'd like
yeah, that's fine. But you gotta understand what I'm talking about.
Billy, I have no problem with any of that, you know that.
The plans, there's miscommunication. You guys are usually good and Jim's usually good, but we can move forward. It's a rare instance that Jim doesn't get what you guys put forward, so I'm sure there's a good reason.
I'm fine with what you said.
Okay, I can't make the motion as chair. Somebody else has to do it.
All right, I'll make the motion that the board approve the variances for the lot on Oak Road, plan dated 12/31/15, and the variances, where are the variances?
That's one, to the left is
Approve the variances for Regulation 27, fill requirements, and fill within 10 feet of the property line. The variance there is requested to allow the construction of a retaining wall within 2 feet of the property line for system breakout grading.
A second.
So only comment then would be the addition of this granting it is pending
Pending
approval,
Jim's
Jim's review and
approval of the
Right.
final revisions on the plan.
They all right with you guys?
Yep. We have a second? No further
I
discussion?
say second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. You're up next.
No, we are.
Careful, brother. You're staying for
Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. I'm up again.
All right, next one is 72 Witchwood Heights.
This is Mr. Peter
Tracy? Hi.
Mr. Tracy? Witchwood Heights.
Yeah, this is a resale.
This is, if you're getting off of 495.
Hartwell.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right across the street.
Got it.
So this is an existing dwelling. It's an existing 3-bedroom with a built septic system. We did soil testing, which was, it's very nice material. It's like a kind of a medium sand. So it's in the nice spot of Witchwood has some around the other side.
Cemetery there. One and a half feet in the cemetery right there.
But this is in a nice spot. So we did soil testing. We were able to design a 3-bedroom design. The only variance I need for this is the fill to lot line. We did have perk rates less than 2 minutes an inch, so we are accommodating the 5-foot groundwater offset. If I asked for a 5 to 4 foot reduction, I wouldn't need the local variance for the filter lot line, but the way that Title V reads is you're supposed to take the easiest variances first and leave that one
Got it.
for situations that you really can't make it. So I meet the 5-foot ground offset, it's really just filter lot line, which is located right here. We're filling right to this spot. There's a big pine tree right here, and that's why that contour.
Okay.
So there's a
near
little
the-
bump right there, so we're basically grading right up to the tree. The grade of the land will remain essentially the same. We're just filling up, I think, 1.5 feet over the system. The foundation can accommodate the additional fill. It's not going to back up towards the foundation. It's still, the water sheds over towards the intersection, which has catch basins, which catch the runoff now. So we're not increasing any runoff or anything like that.
Any butters had no concerns?
They were notified, there was, we notified these abutters here.
I don't have any comments.
No?
Nope, I'm good.
So we're looking for a specific motion for variance approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variances for 72 Woodruff Heights, plan dated 12/31/15. Variances for regulation 27. Fill to within 2 feet of the lot line as opposed to 10. And that's it.
Second?
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. Thanks, Billy. Guys have the cameras here?
What's that?
We're gonna start this.
Can you write a check tonight for $200? The permit's ready.
I'll come in the morning.
Okay.
I'll give you the morning.
Guys have a wonderful evening.
You too, thank you.
Drive safe.
Yeah.
To imagine, don't stop and eat on the way home.
I'm not eating. I am starving. I'm ready
Can't
to eat. As Roland said, I'm ready to eat the plastic bottle the water came in.
Okay, next up is 27 Hartwell, looking at a septic system variance.
Night.
Good night.
Good evening. Happy New Year. I'm Kirk Fitzpatrick with Civil Solutions, and I'm here on behalf of the Hurdles for their property at 27 Hartwell Ave. And basically, we have before you is a proposed upgrade for the existing 3-bedroom dwelling. With Title V inspection. There's a small tank located off the back of the house here, and a very small leaching area off to the side of the backyard here. The house is located on the corner of Hartwell Ave and Pine Brook Lane. So we did some testing out behind the garage where there's more room to site a system. We did 2 test holes and a perk. It was a loamy sand with a water table at 6 feet, and the perk was 3 minutes an inch. So we designed it to come out to a new 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank, and it's going to feed a 16 by 28 foot stone leaching field. And because of the groundwater table, we're asking for a variance to reduce the groundwater offset from 4 feet to 3 feet. And that allows us to eliminate the necessity of installing a pump chamber and a pump by gravity. Don't have to change the plumbing inside the house, just pick it up a little bit, then make it by gravity.
Does this existing system stay in place, or is that going to get removed?
They'll pump out the existing tank and rupture the bottom and backfill with clean sand. And the existing field is just a small stone and pipe system.
Okay.
So that'll just be allowed to stay in place.
For a gravity system than a pump, that's for sure.
You don't have to put a pump if you
That's why he's doing
eliminate
it. If
it.
he
Right, if we can
lowers it, he can do gravity.
reduce the groundwater from 4 feet to 3 feet, allows us to eliminate a pump.
Less moving parts, the better, Gina.
Oh, I don't have any comments or questions in from that.
Make a motion to approve the variance from 4 to 3 feet.
You gotta read this, Gina.
Yeah, right.
Can you see that? You want me to
This
read it
is-
for you?
Well, if they make any
The date of
smaller,
the plan.
if I can make any smaller, I can see it.
It's the same as on the letter, it's easier.
That's what I was reading.
Right here. Approval is sought under 310C.
That's what I was reading. Approval is sought under 310 CMR 15451H to reduce the requirement groundwater offset from 4 to 3 feet. Okay? You like it?
What's the date of the plan?
Today, the date over here I can see is, if I can see it right here.
December
a
8th,
minute.
2015.
Yeah. You know what? Over here says
No, I'm looking at the big
December
one.
8th. Over here says December 8th. But anyway, over December 17, okay? That's what I see here, that's what I see
The
there.
plan's December 8th. We'll go with that.
I can give it that.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. 14 Town Road. Come on up.
Have a good night.
Two. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah.
You want that? Time to get signed?
Yeah, he does own that.
You don't-
Hi, I'm Bob Elliott, and I'm a professional engineer,
Excellent, thank you.
professional land surveyor in Massachusetts.
You could speak up a little bit, Bob,
Okay.
just we-
Right, yes. The site's 14 Town Road. Is an existing three-bedroom house. The existing system failed recent Title V inspection. There's a 5-minute perk, but there was only 3 to 3.5 feet of naturally occurring pervious soil. You required to have 4. The proposed system is new septic tank, a D-box, and a Presby system. We were requesting 2 items under local upgrade approval. One is to be able to reduce the offset of groundwater from 4 feet to 3 feet. We're using the Presby system, which actually allows you to reduce it from 4 to 2. And we're also using a Presby because there's only 3 to 3.5 feet of naturally occurring soil. And a Presby actually allows you to reduce it from 4 to need to 2.
Oh.
And also, the approval letter also allows you to combine the reduced groundwater offset and reduced need for depth of soil.
You have town water there, right?
Yes, there's town water, and there's no wetlands with, or wells within 100 feet of the system. We're raising the plumbing inside the house so we can have gravity.
Jim states he doesn't have a concern.
Oh, you don't have any? I don't have an issue with the request for the reasons stated above, and the fact that the area is served by the town water.
I don't have any issues.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Sure, I'd like to propose that we we approve the requested variances of 14 Town Road in Littleton based on the plans dated December 31st, 2015, looking for the following variances: a reduction in required separation of the bottom of the soil absorption system to groundwater, so that offset from 4 to 3 feet, and then a reduction in the depth of the pervious material, again, from 4 to 3 feet.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, we went too fast. We can't start the next one until 8.
No, it's a discussion, you can.
Oh, it is, just discussion, okay.
3 Evergreens, a discussion? Yeah.
Come on up, sir.
And my last one's a discussion, so the snow is mounting and you can leave early. Hi.
How much snow is out there?
It's a good 2 inches already, it's
Yeah,
coming out
That's what we were
fast.
supposed to get in total, so.
Yeah,
It might be a little high for us.
yeah. Good evening. I was here a couple of months ago on Marilyn Berg's house. I heard your comments, I heard your concerns. So I went over to the house to see what, if anything, I could do to make this look a little bit differently to the board, and maybe try to prevail upon you to consider some reasonable accommodations.
So, I've read just, if I can interrupt, just, or make a request, so I wasn't here at that meeting, unfortunately, so if we could get a real 10,000-foot, high-level overview of what the question is, so just so I'm oriented. I've read the minutes, but just so I'm oriented properly.
Mrs. Berg lives in a 2-bedroom house by herself with a couple of dogs and a adult daughter who visits on occasion, but the daughter doesn't live there as a permanent resident. Mrs. Berg needs to take care of her elderly mother, and she's come before the board to put a 600-square-foot addition, I believe it was 600-square-foot addition, onto the side of her house to house the mother. Since it's a 2-bedroom house on a 2-bedroom deed restriction, the board was more than reluctant to make any exceptions for that over 55 or that elderly accessory dwelling unit, because it's already 2 bedrooms. If you add another living area, you're adding at least a 3rd bedroom. So I went through the house. Bill, one of the things you had commented about was, why didn't we tell you that the bedrooms were upstairs to begin with?
I'm not sure it was me that mentioned that, but it could be.
So what I did was I got the building plans from their original building permit for this house, because I wanted to impress upon this board that it is really a very tiny house. It is tall, like a salt box, but there's not a lot of room. And it's a split entry, so that you go up a total of 4 or 5 stairs to the door, and that's the entry hall. You have to go downstairs to the cellar, or you have to go upstairs to the living areas at this level. So it's a good 10 stairs before you get to the living area. So there's no way to get the mother a usable living quarter on this main floor.
Was that, if that wasn't you, Bill, or whoever would remember?
It was me, now that I recall saying that,
So what was the?
because that wasn't brought up until really late in the discussion.
Right.
I remember it now.
And
Okay, just as a question, that helps me out. Why is that germane to the
Well,
question?
they were talking about adding on,
Yeah,
and the reason was because the bedrooms were all upstairs.
yeah, okay.
Partially,
And-
not the whole reason.
No, not the whole reason, but, I mean, that pretty much,
Okay.
because the elderly mother couldn't.
It took
Okay.
that consideration
That was
off the table.
That
but-
was your concern.
Right.
consideration.
But
Okay.
you had wanted to put your mom in a separate space just so you didn't drive each other nuts, too, right?
that's,
Oh, yeah, we're both exactly alike.
Yeah.
and that's
I can
another
appreciate this living with my
consideration.
in-laws, so.
Okay.
The other thing about the upstairs is, the upstairs has the slanted roof down, so there's no front windows. It does have windows on the side and on the back, but if you can see from this picture, I was on Goldsmith and it was hard to pull over, but the back stair exit is about, I don't know, 2 flights down from the back slider door down to the ground level. So there's really not a reasonable way to get the mother living in the interior, even if we could and wanted to.
So two things. One, I'm not sure it's completely germane, because that's not what you're asking for. You're asking for a separate space
Right.
for a lot of reasons. But two, even if we thought it was germane, it's not feasible, is what you're telling us.
It's
for an
not
elderly
feasible. Now,
parent.
what is and might be feasible is to put her in the basement, which is down here. It's got a window, and it's clean and tidy, and it's a basement. We could probably finish it and get her down there. We could probably take the garage in the basement and give her a whole living unit, and then we'd have to build a two-car garage. And maybe the board would find that preferable, but it
Either way, you're
seems
adding
to
a
me,
bedroom. The only-
either way, we're adding a
Our
bedroom.
only issue is the septic, and whether you put the bedroom in the basement or you put it on an attachment, I don't see much difference myself.
So,
Can I just, this just popped into my head here. The combination of the stairs going to the front of the house and to the second level, because it's a split level, the stairs in the front of the house could be dealt with a ramp. I'm just throwing this out there. The stairs on the inside of the house could be accommodated with a chairlift. And I'm looking at this from two standpoints. It could be done using an existing bedroom, and the other standpoint is cost to you. I mean, you wouldn't be investing in basically a in-law apartment. You'd only be investing in a chairlift, which I can tell you would probably run around $20,000.
Can I ask you a question, a clarifying question? So I'm not sure it's up to this board to tell these folks how to rearrange the house. You're coming before us for an accessory apartment, right?
yes.
I'm not sure it's our role. I mean, we can ask this when it gets to that point, but I don't think it's our role to tell people how to arrange their building.
Well, it is, because they're looking for a variance, and I think it's up to us, because variants are only supposed to be granted when there is no other viable solution to what the problem is. So I don't think that this is at all out of line, and I've sat at meetings where people have been told, well, rip down this wall, and now you don't have two bedrooms, you have one.
And I don't think that's
So,
appropriate.
I mean,
I don't think it's appropriate of this board to tell people how to rearrange their
I'm not the one that
buildings.
said it, but all I'm getting at is a variance is being asked for, and I started it by saying, I'm throwing it out there. It's just another suggestion, and it's something that would accommodate your mother living with you. And in regard to what you said, Brad, it's not the board's problem if two people don't get along and they need separate living quarters.
The board doesn't have a problem. The board has a request before it, which is to put on an accessory apartment. I don't think it's our role to be telling people to rearrange their floor space. We can consider that in deciding whether it's really necessary, but at this point, I think we need to determine.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that.
What's the size of the house? What is the
Square
current
It
square
looks
feet?
like it's 24, let me just see if I just saw it, it's 24 this way, and it's 36, 24 by 36.
How many square feet?
And it's really quite small. When you walk inside, kitchen, living, and dining is one open space.
Yeah, well, I know that the split levels don't have as much square foot living space because of that garage. I mean, that's all the downside of that kind of design.
Yeah. I can do a quick math for you, Brad, but 24 by
That's okay.
36.
Roughly.
two
No, but
stories.
just,
But the other thing, look, at the other thing I wanted to raise, and you say it's a variance. We're not really asking for a variance because she's perfectly agreeable to have this be decided as an allowance for an accessory dwelling for her mother. We could even condition it that it always be occupied by a person over the age of 55 or an age-restricted unit. You can condition it that it's an in-law apartment. It goes away anytime it's sold, and it goes away every 3 years. It has to be renewed.
So you
and
need a
checked.
special permit through the ZBA for an accessory
ZBA
permit.
has to give a special permit, and it is voted on every 3 years. If she doesn't renew it, that apartment ceases to be. So she would have to prove the occupancy of an age-restricted person in the unit every 3 years.
Now, the issue is, frankly, for us, is that
It's a two-bedroom system, and it's going to be a
you're basically
three-bedroom
adding
house.
somebody down the line, I have no doubt you're going to use it for your intended purpose, but the issue is somewhere down the line it's going to sell, somebody's going to say, great, there's an extra bedroom for the kids, even though it's not. That's the concern.
But if you put on your decision, and it goes in the Registry of Deeds records, which we're perfectly willing to record, that it is for an age-restricted accessory dwelling under the Littleton zoning bylaw only for a functionally dependent person, no lawyer will let them buy it for a third bedroom. It's
It's
just,
gotta be written down on the deed.
Right.
all
It'll be
that
on the
stuff.
deed if
Sometimes
you agree
the
to-
The
real
ZBA
estate-
requires a deed restriction, don't
Sometimes
they?
the real estate sells as is, and then they forget to mention that, and then they
Yes.
come in front of the board.
we're proposing.
You know what I'm saying? We can have, let's say, 100 people doing and coming in front of us.
Absolutely.
What they trying to say is, the law require that we should have, for 3-bedroom, bigger septic system with this, you know what I mean? And if you can't have it, then we have a problem. But if you have to get a BDA, or the approval from the.
The ZBA gives approval, and their decision is
And then they have to come
recorded.
in front of us.
But I'm
In
willing,
violation of that is, I think, a $300 a day fine.
it's a significant fine, but I'm willing to go a step further. In addition to the ZBA special permit that gets recorded, she will actually record a deed restriction, so that anybody searching this title for the next purchase will see.
And also, it
that
should be
This is not a
notarized.
3-bedroom, can't be used as a 3-bedroom, only as an accessory
Can
for
I ask you something?
age-restricted. Yeah.
Your mother is really unavailable to walk.
Her doctor has told her in the next 6 months she'll be in a wheelchair.
I understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I'm actually fine with the deed restriction, and you don't need to convince me.
Yeah.
Realistically, though, you can buy it with a deed restriction, there's no bedroom police, they're all gonna keep you from using it. So that's a legitimate concern. We've got to weigh that against what is also a legitimate public health concern, is how do we care for our elderly?
Yeah, but we are concerned about it.
So
It's
I have-
interesting you asked. Have you
Go
seen
ahead.
this?
Have to be
Have you
careful.
seen these? I
Granny
brought
pots.
them, the granny pots. Have you seen these? How to care for the elderly?
Oh my gosh, they're so expensive. I looked at them.
They're so interesting, and you know,
They're
Gino,
really expensive.
you're the poster child for finding ways to care for our elderly. This is right
I
up,
do-
you know,
I
right up-
agree
Yeah.
with you. The question is, if somebody uses it for a different reason,
Yeah.
they come in front of us again, they say, hey, you give the lady,
So,
You know-
as we consider this, we need to realize
Yeah.
that realistically down the line, there is a good chance that somebody is going to use it as a
Yeah.
3-bedroom in violation of the deed restriction that won't get enforced.
and they really.
We also need to realize that we have competing
hurts me.
public needs, and yes, while the law says you need it, the law also gives us the ability to grant a variance or an ability to do this, so.
So, just so I understand, as I read through Jim's notes too, so I understand the sort of the history, the recent history of the property. 2009, the board approved variance for just to put the existing system in. Is that correct? Am I reading this correct? 2009, there was issued a permit for a disposal system for a 2-bedroom dwelling. The site contained a 2-bedroom structure, was going to be replaced with a new 2-bedroom structure. Due to site conditions, small sloping lot, high water table, et cetera, the board needed to grant a number of local upgrade approvals. So all that's fine. So, you know, Brad, to your point, that's sort of what our role is. We take the health agent's thoughts and recommendations, and then we apply what we think's the right thing to do, given everything. The one thing I'm wondering, and Jim's not here, but you know, his note says, a fully compliant system could not be installed on this site. Does that mean a 3-bedroom system could never be installed? So I'm thinking not for you, but, you know, see,
somebody
somebody's
else
going to
that buys
buy
it.
the house and say,
Right, right.
well, okay, I want to use it as a 3-bedroom, but I'm going to have to put a bigger system on there. Does that mean the site absolutely could never handle it, or under the existing variances, it couldn't hit? You know, it's a little weird.
We wouldn't approve the existing variances if it
We
couldn't
would-
handle it.
we
So
would
I
have-
think he's referring to a 3-bedroom system down the line.
Yeah, we would have to, so, okay.
Is the lot big enough for, in the event something goes wrong with the septic system, to upgrade it?
It's a good-sized lot. Excuse me, the last sentence of
You
the May
understand what I'm saying?
2015 letter implies that it could be brought back for a fully compliant 3-bedroom.
Okay, that answers the question.
Well, the other thing I'd add to that is a lot of the systems we're putting in on small lots today didn't exist 20 years ago, so who's to say what's going to
Right.
exist 20
Yeah,
years
there
from
could be
now,
an
too.
advancement.
So-
Okay,
With the deed restriction, if I have to say yes, I want you also to make sure that the septic system will be clean every year.
Sure.
And you have to bring the receipt right to the young lady here.
Well, I do it every year anyways.
Oh, I know, but that is, if I have to approve it.
Though, Gino, to be fair, the concern isn't with her, it's with folks who buy it down the line. Because they're the ones who are likely to put. But that's fine, I don't have a problem with that.
What do these cost?
The cheapest one was 120,000, and that's without all the plumbing and electric and all that.
Buy one of the
Wow.
neighboring houses for that. Yeah.
Although it seems to indicate that it's fully automated, so you can monitor all of the activities
Oh,
of
I
the
know.
elder living in
It's
it. Yeah.
specifically designed.
I just thought,
I mean,
Well, it can be removed after, right? So-
yeah, you pick it right up, no foundation, and
the
it's
shower and the railings and everything else, and I realize the
Pretty
expenses,
nifty, yeah.
the expense is extraordinary, but they can be picked up and you can get money for them and they
Sell 'em
can be
later.
We'll have to deal with the subsequent buyers,
You know? I think these things,
it's an interesting wave of the future.
it certainly is.
It doesn't get, though, at the current question, there would still be an
I
extra
mean,
bedroom
it's something
on
for us to
site.
keep in
That's
mind.
correct.
But it
It would
is.
still be
It's
an,
only 300 square feet.
yeah. Of course,
Did you
we
look at
would,
the floor plan?
No, I just saw the picture.
we'd be accused of elder abuse, though, if we locked our elders in a closet 300 square feet, right? Wouldn't we? Lock them in so they can't hurt themselves.
You look at it and it doesn't,
Oh, 300 square foot for studio apartments, actually, not that.
No,
I
it's
was
not
gonna
bad.
say
It's
my
a good
first
size.
apartment,
still have
I
to
shared
put-
with someone that was 400 square.
I lived in one of those, too.
Foundation there.
It wasn't your mother, though, I take that.
You still have
they
to,
don't,
you're gonna,
they don't
you're
travel.
gonna buy
long
something like this?
distances.
No, I just wanted to show you that's coming, that was on the internet this week, and
Yeah. No, I.
Well, I mean,
Piqued
as the
my-
population ages, which it's
Yeah.
doing, I think we're going to see more innovation like this marketed towards us.
That's what I was excited.
They're beautiful,
Be
too.
nice to your kids.
I mean, really nice inside.
It's hard to say, 13,000 a month for a elderly in a nursing home.
it's up to 13, 14, you're right.
Yeah.
So what,
And they're in a nursing home.
yeah, and so what,
Yeah.
maybe this isn't for us, it's for the planning board or the zoning board, abutters and what they're,
The zoning board then will advertise. The zoning board cannot make a decision on a special accessory dwelling, special permit, unless the Board of Health has stated that they're satisfied.
and because you're not proposing changing the septic system itself, the abutters didn't need to be part of this discussion.
That's correct.
Okay, all right,
The greater concern is going to be if you're expanding the building, and that all comes with the
yes.
ZBA.
So this is really step one for you guys.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we're looking for the board's consideration of this
So
request.
the agenda item said discussion, but can a motion be made for that? Okay.
D restriction, septic system clean and notarized.
Easy.
John, you've got some stuff, right?
If you need a
Yeah, so
notary,
I
you can come, we'll do
got,
it.
so,
If you need a notary, we'll do it.
I-
We want to make sure you follow the law. We don't want to have another 100 people coming over here and say, hey, you've done it for somebody that we know.
Well, we've never been accused of consistency before, Gina.
You never know.
well, yeah, that gets into a deeper
We only try to
discussion.
help the people in town. The question is, sometimes we go, even our agents.
I think almost every case that comes before us is going to have its own specifics
I
that
know.
we're allowed to consider. I do think we
That's
need to be
right.
somewhat consistent, but within that realm of consistency,
That's why I'm
there's
losing my hair.
variability in every request that we need to
And
consider.
where is Evergreen
too.
Road, by the way?
It's one of the, off Goldsmith, one of the lake roads right off
Oh,
Goldsmith.
okay.
And she's the first house in from Goldsmith.
Okay.
A couple over from Town Road.
Okay. All right, well, to that then, and I'd like to motion to approve this variance for an accessory dwelling at 3 Evergreen with the following conditions. A deed restriction to be used, that this is to be used only as a 2-bedroom dwelling. This deed restriction would be removed if the septic, or could be removed if the septic system is updated to accommodate for a 3rd bedroom. Following this, that the owner receives special permit for the accessory apartment via the zoning board, that there's no other increase in livable area outside of this accessory unit, unless the septic system is updated. In the future, all work be done with a permit and then add in Gino's as well. I didn't take this note to catch that, but that, if that's something that we can throw down, then I like that a requirement that this be pumped annually and that proof be presented to this
They have to go
board.
in front of the ZBA, right?
This line, Joe, too.
I would, I just
Oh, we have a
want,
motion, do we have a second before we get into discussion?
You're gonna do it all day, okay?
I'm gonna do it.
Because I'm on the line here,
Yep.
all right? I'm gonna lose more hair for you people. I'm gonna second it.
Okay, now that we have a second, we have a discussion, Bill.
I just wanted to, for the record, to read Jim's comments on this, because as much as I empathize with your situation, trust me, don't take this personally, because this is gonna come back.
After us.
Anyway, Jim's comments.
Yeah.
In 2009, the board issued a permit for a sewage disposal system for a two-bedroom dwelling. The site contained a two-bedroom structure that was being replaced with a new two-bedroom, five-room structure. Due to the severe site conditions, small sloping lot, high water table, and insufficient soil depth due to ledge, the board needed to grant a number of local upgrade approvals, Title V, and variances to your regulations to allow the replacement system. As a condition of this approval, the board, and a requirement of Title V, required a two-bedroom deed restriction to be recorded on the property because of the site limitation and inability to meet full compliance with Title V and your regulations. I have reviewed the plans for the proposed addition and would strongly recommend against approval for the following reason. The plans clearly indicate the addition of another bedroom and the combined total of the rooms in the existing house and the proposed addition would need a sewage disposal system large enough to handle a four-bedroom house, according to Title V. This addition would be considered an increase in the approved capacity and require a sewage disposal system in full compliance with Title V. The existing system is only designed for two bedrooms and required variances and local upgrade approvals. A fully compliant system could not be installed on this site. I have no doubt that the current owner would use the property as they propose. My concern is with the subsequent owners of the house. A unit property with too many bedrooms may lead to the failure of the current system, coupled with the inability to install a system adequate for what the house has become. This would not be a good situation. And I agree with this because if and when this happens,
I agree too.
the board is going to be asked, why did you approve it in the first place? And with all due respect, you talk about a deed restriction and you talk about a restriction of 55 years or older occupancy only. Well, there's already a deed restriction. And clearly, it doesn't hold any water if we approve what you want to do.
Well, the deed restrictions aren't in conflict, they both talk about two bedrooms in use, right?
The original deed restriction was for a two-bedroom system to replace a two-bedroom system and replace an existing two-bedroom dwelling with a new two-bedroom dwelling.
And-
That was the
And the
deed
deed
restriction.
restriction that's being proposed tonight would limit it to a two-bedroom usage. So it's
But
not
it
in
would not
conflict.
have
Not to
two
four.
bedrooms, it's going to have three, and it's not just going to add a bedroom, you're adding a kitchen.
Well, the kitchen's not even playing, you can have as many kitchens as you want in. One thing I would point out, Bill, is that one,
You
the
can
flow
evaluate.
rates of these things are extremely conservative. The septic systems themselves are overbuilt. And even on top of that, it's not like we have a very solid line in two and three bedroom systems now. Rather than putting your mother in an extra room in there, she could meet the love of her life with 4 kids and put 8 people in the 2 bedrooms we have, and we wouldn't be able to say boo about it. So that bedroom restriction is a fuzzy line at best. We can pretend it's a solid line and we're only going to have 2 bedrooms, but really the variable that we're concerned is how many people are in there. And we have no ability to enforce that, one way or the other.
Based on what you just said, why do we have any regulations? Because basically what you just said was, it really doesn't matter because anybody can do whatever they want.
That's not what I
inside
said
that
at
couple-
all.
You
What I said was we need to
Somebody
keep.
could have 8 people living in that
They
house.
could. So right now with a 2-bedroom system, is there anything on the books, either DEP or in the town, that would keep us from having 8 people living there?
No. What
Okay,
I'm saying
so
is,
that's my
based on
point.
that logic,
No, you're not letting me
why do we
finish.
have any,
I'm not saying we
Any
shouldn't follow them,
regulations?
but when we have a request for a variance, which the same regulations and law that create these systems also give us the flexibility to this board to grant them, we need to keep in mind the limitations of the systems we have now. This is not, when it says 2-bedroom, there's no absolute in that. And to pretend there is, that, oh, with 2 bedrooms, we can't go to 3, there might be too many people, we don't limit the number of people now. And we put some
then
reasonable
it shouldn't have been
precautions in
limited
there.
to 2 bedrooms in the first place.
I disagree.
Because the deed restriction doesn't work.
The deed restrictions aren't in conflict.
It's only when you sell the
original
house.
Deed restriction
You can
is
only have
not
2 people there, right?
working.
You and your mother,
If
right?
we allow this to happen.
So the original deed restriction said 2 bedrooms. John's
Correct.
proposed deed restriction says there'll be no more than 2 rooms used as bedrooms. Where is the conflict?
I'll go right back to what I said before. Why do we have any regulations?
No, answer my question. Where's the
The conflict
conflict?
is clear. There's going to be 3 bedrooms.
But the deed restrictions aren't in
You're not gonna have
conflict.
3 bedrooms.
The first deed restriction
You're gonna
said
use
you
only
can't
2
have more than
bedrooms.
2 bedrooms.
And
The
now
second
we're
deed restriction
allowing a
says
third
we're
bedroom.
putting a room in, but we can't have 3 bedrooms. So there is no conflict
That is a
in the deed restriction. Now realistically, down the line, there is a chance somebody can use it. I agree.
Brad,
But we're
we'll-
weighing this against other.
We're beating our heads against the wall here. We will agree to disagree on it.
Okay.
That's, I
think
got
it's-
to read Jim's notes on it, and I happen to agree with everything he said. And I can't say any more without being totally redundant.
I agree with you what Jim said, but the question is, if she send our mother to the nursing home, she's gonna go, she has to file for bankruptcy, she has to sell the house.
With
We
all
only
due
try to-
respect, it's not our problem.
Well, it is a problem,
With all due
because
respect-
we live in our town. We're here to help others.
Gino, it is
I am-
our problem as a
Let me
society,
tell you
it
something,
is.
Bill, if I
But
were to
it's
be
not
against, if her
ethical.
mother,
Okay, as board, I'm going to shut this down now. What
No.
I'm going to tell you right
I'm
now,
gonna finish.
this is not the, no, you're not. This is not the Board of Septic. This is the Board of Health. We have competing public health needs. If we were just going to do what Jim says to do, with looking only at septic, we would need a board. We'd have Jim. So, is there any other discussion?
So I would just say that, so, to me, the strongest point, and I know probably this would be a disagreement, Bill, for you maybe, but certainly probably for Jim, but to me, the strongest point is what happens down the road,
I agree.
right? That's the strongest issue.
Right.
That's the
The
concern.
current issue to me, or the current concern, to me, isn't that strong, which is why I'm in favor of improving it, and why I tried to jot the notes like I did and word it like I did. But again, then to follow that, though, it's also, maybe we think about things with an eye down the road, but it's not necessarily our job right now to predict what the future is. So I think, that's why I think, to me, what I interpret is really the biggest concern, to me, is not that big of a concern right now, and that's why I propose that's why I made the proposal, so.
And I agree. I think there's a very legitimate concern that down the line, they're going to use this as a 3-bedroom. I think there's a very legitimate concern that somebody could cram a bunch of people into the rooms they have now as well. We need to weigh what we're looking at. So
Right.
Gino, you
I
have something
believe-
final to say, and then let's move
I
on.
believe that she mentioned she's gonna use it for her and mother. That's the only reason, because if there's something happen, you sell it, and somebody else is gonna use it for 3-bedroom, I will be the first one to say, I did it once, I'm not gonna do again. And if she has the same problem as you have, if it's only 2 people, use the same 2-bedroom, that's fine. But if they're gonna sell, a real estate says, oh, that you can use it for 3-bedroom, they come in front of us, I will be against it.
No, I agree with that. Well, as Bill said, I think anything else we wisely said, I think anything else we said will be redundant, unless there's any burning further discussion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye. So the motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. You still have me here for one more.
Are you Dave Palsey's neighbor?
I'm sorry?
Dave Palsey?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Never mind, we won't go there.
Oh, we can if you want to meet for coffee. Thank you guys so much.
Take care, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Say a prayer for us, will you?
I will, and I'll do what you said.
So 2 White Street, there are no notes for that from Jim?
What's going on with White Street, Sherry?
So, some time ago, you had the owner of White Street in before this board, and they requested to be allowed to hook to share the septic system. Let me just bring everybody up to speed. We're looking at White Street at the corner of Route 2A and 110, lots 7 and A. According to 8, according to the assessor's map, 7 has a house on it. It's an antique colonial house with 2 families. And 8 is that long garage that Lions used to, if you've been in town a long time, Lions used to have their repair shop there.
It was Leahy Trucking.
Leahy Trucking before that, yeah. And
Way back.
it's quite run down. It's quite in a state of disrepair. So you had voted on motion to allow 432 King Street, which is the colonial house on Lot 7, and 10 White Street, which is the garage, to be allowed to have a shared system on the existing cesspool as long as there's a passing Title V. And you allowed that there would be an easement from one to the other. Now, there is a passing Title V. I may have brought 1 copy of that. I didn't bring 5, but there is a passing Title V. And, ta-da, it's filed. Okay. So we've satisfied all that. What's happened is they tried to sell the house and the garage together, and the buyer of that, the 2 together, has defaulted. The property's come back into the hands of the Leahys. They've been approached by Bassnet across the street to be able to buy the garage separately and to use it for his vehicles. And all he wants to do in that is to put in 1 bathroom in that garage, probably for hand washing and for going to the bathroom. So you've already voted this, but I wanted to make sure that the board was aware that we'd like at this point to sell each piece to a different owner. I think it's okay under the Title V regulations to have shared systems, and we'll record the proper easements and everything. But I would ask you if you could make a motion tonight or modify this motion to reflect that whether or not it's in the same ownership, your decision to allow a shared system on that cesspool is still going to stand. There are 2 lots, by the way. It's already separated into 2 lots.
And Bassnet's 20, lot 20?
Bassnet's across the street on,
Yeah.
Yeah, right, they're right on King Street, so that would
They're
be
right on
20.
King, they're 20,
Lot
yeah.
20 is.
Yeah.
Okay.
The garage is sort of a liability to try to sell the house because it's just a major repair and renovation problem. Bassnet will take good care of it. He's pretty pristine in how he takes care of his properties.
Do we need to make any motion? Is there anything that prohibits us?
The buyer is looking for some confirmation that you understand that it will be different owners. It can be in the minutes probably without it being a full motion.
In the previous motion,
It's 432 King Street, Lot 7?
yeah, I think so. In the previous motion, was there discussion or was there a request that a bathroom be added to 10 White Street? It sounds like that eventually is what they want to do.
I wasn't here for that motion, but there's nothing,
Lot 8, but
Lot 8,
Yeah.
10 White Street.
Okay.
that was what was contemplated because there's no running water in Lot 8 right now, so it had to be
So-
that that's what they were here for.
It must have been, otherwise it wouldn't be an issue. They wouldn't need any
They would have
septic.
asked for it, right.
Right.
Okay,
So it's a
Okay.
given that they understood there'd be some
okay,
facilities going in there.
okay.
I think I'll clarify for the minutes, if folks are comfortable with that, that we're comfortable with the ownership of 10 White Street being taken over by another party, and that the ability to share the systems remains so long as they've met the Title V. Folks comfortable with that?
Yeah,
So long as they want,
Wasn't the requirement they have a Title V?
they're passing Title V.
Passing Title V, so, which they have.
Which they
So-
have, yeah.
So as long as they have a passing Title V, they can share the systems. I'm not sure it matters who the property owners are. So I certainly have no discomfort with Fastnet buying 10 White Street. It's on record, they're sharing it. Who owns it and holds title to the property doesn't matter.
So currently, one person, one family, one individual, one entity owns both lots. And Bassett would be buying the.
That's correct. And just for your information, under the law, they don't merge if there's buildings on each of them, so they're still two separate lots.
Oh, okay.
There may be a juggling of the lot line between them for whatever purposes to get the most vehicles in and out or something, but that shouldn't affect anything here either.
Shelley, you've dealt with this probably more than the rest of us. Do you see any concerns with this, or?
I think the fact that there's buildings on each covers that being an issue, so it's just, I guess, a recorded plan that shows the new lot line.
In fact, I brought that statute, but I'm not sure it's relevant, but it says, "The division of a tract of land on which 2 or more buildings were standing when the subdivision control law went into effect is not considered a subdivision," and you can create a plan under 81L of Chapter 41, 81L. You just draw the plan and send it to the Registry of Deeds, and then you can deed them separately.
This is for me, and
Okay,
You can get that.
so we read that into the minutes. Are you comfortable?
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Is there any other business?
Drive safe.
Nope. I hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You can go shovel.
Second?
Good night.
Thanks, Sherry.